Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Rivers. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. Listen up, grandpas. Have you actually pulled the trigger on recording your life story? I'm talking video, baby. They want to remember your corny jokes, your crooked smile, your rugged good looks, and the jaunty bounce of your voice. What if I told you there was a really easy way to do this? Recently, I sat down and I told my life story on video. Not the whole thing, but the good stuff, the messy stuff, the funny stuff, the parts I didn't want to forget and the parts that I did not want my kids and my grandkids to forget. Planted Media made it so easy. They came to me, set up everything, and then they did some editing voodoo magic that made me look like $1 million. Go to plantedmediaco.com and tell them Rivers sent you, and you'll get a nice little Grandpa Channel discount. All right, back to the show. Welcome to the Grandpa Channel. We have a great guest this morning. He's one of my very most favorite people. And spoiler alert, or at least full disclosure, Scott Becker is my brother-in-law. And I don't want to make Scott blush, but he is amazing. And we've been through some fun stuff together. Now, just to give you a little bit of an intro to Scott, one of the angles that we want to explore is he is a newly minted grandfather of twins. And so we'll explore that a little bit, but welcome to the show. Well, thank you. And we have a vast following of about 137 people. So you're speaking to, just this vast audience.
Well, I hope you don't lose some because of me, but we'll see.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I'd like to, just give people some background.
Okay. I grew up here in Salt Lake, had a loving family, had a great childhood, and I decided it would be great to leave Salt Lake. And so when my wife and I were early married, we decided to go and venture out to San Diego. And that's where I spent 35 years up in San Diego, and I loved it. I still have a home there. I love living there. And because of various events, I ended up back here and living in Park City, and I teach at the U. I'm a professor at the U in the business department. I love teaching students. I didn't realize how much I would love it. I've been doing it for about 9 or 10 years, and I have 5 great boys. Love them to death. And I love their mates they've chosen. I really love how life blossoms and what it gives you. And as you said, I just recently have 2 twins.
Wow.
Were born almost a little more than 2 months ago, 2 months and 4 days.
It's amazing. I've gone up a couple of times to watch Scott teach, and Scott is a masterful teacher. He speaks from vast troves of experience in the real world and has a command of subject matter. So tell us a little bit. I know this kind of comes out of left field, but you and Stace had 4 kids, but you've got 5 kids. Tell me a little bit about Isaac and how you came into his world.
Isaac is the biggest blessing to the family. Everyone who knows him knows how great he is. He was a soccer player, and they bussed him in. It was in San Diego. He lived in downtown San Diego, and they bussed him into our school district in Scripps. And my son Tate really wanted him on the team because he's a very good player, but Isaac had problems getting to practice because the buses left early, and so he wouldn't have a way home. So he asked me if every night after practice, could I drive Isaac home? At first, I wasn't happy about it because it's about a half-hour ride, so that takes an hour out of your busy day. But if you meet Isaac, you understand.
Tell us a little bit about Isaac, where he came from.
He's from Uganda. He's a refugee from Uganda. He's a U.S. citizen now. He came over here with his aunt and uncle and his cousins. There were about 17 of them, and they all lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. And so Isaac and I became really good friends. It was usually me and him in the car because my son had to do his homework and so forth. And we just had a good relationship. And then all of a sudden it became, instead of driving me home tonight, why don't I just stay here and spend the night because I got to be at school the next day. And then he started to live with us and stay with us. And then eventually his family moved to Iowa and he stayed with us so he could continue to play soccer. And we've never officially adopted him, but he is a son and he's part of the family. The boys treat him as
He's
a
a part of
brother.
our family too.
The extended family has really taken him in. He's just a wonderful kid, and he's been a great blessing into the family.
He has an electric smile. I don't know if I know anybody who has a better smile than Isaac.
And there's going to be a battle because the twins come next week for my second son's getting married, and Isaac is the baby whisperer, and he has it all planned that he gets to hold the babies the whole time and take care of them. And the rest of us have a different view on this. So it will be interesting.
So tell me about my 4 nephews, and I include Isaac as a nephew also.
I have my oldest son is Ian. He's the one that just had twins. He's a doctor in Seattle, which brings up challenges. Now they have the babies and their distance. There's a difference there. It's something I've got to deal with. Then I have my son Alex, second son, works for Microsoft and lives in San Diego, and he's coming here next week to get married, and we love his future wife Sam, and we absolutely love my son's Ian's wife Alex. I mean, they're just great. And then I have a son who's Tate, who was a soccer player. He's the one that got Isaac in the family. He played soccer in Europe. He was a really good soccer player until he got injured, and he's followed my path into business. And then there's Noah, the youngest, and he is currently at the U getting his master's. They're all great boys. Great. All of them have wonderful, people they spend time with. Tate has this wonderful girlfriend, Bronte. As you get older, as you go through life and you see how your kids progress and the choices they make and the people who they surround themselves with, it's something you can't comprehend when you're just starting life and going through this.
You're right. I mean, I just had no idea. And it's been fun to kind of see through you. Scott's wife, Stace, is my sister. And I always love to point out that Stacy is a remarkable person. She has a few quirks. When she was a child, she would walk around the house eating an onion like it was an apple and a bunch of other things. If you pay extra money, I'll tell you the stories. Stace is incredible. She is funny. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you guys are a dynamic parental units for these great boys of yours.
And Stacy deserves all the credit. I had a job that required me to travel a lot and be gone, but she was the one that really had such a huge impact. I like to think I had an impact, but nothing like Stacy.
So now you work I think it was a CPA firm down in San Diego, and then you transferred to a very small and obscure company called
Qualcomm,
which isn't so small and isn't so obscure. What number employee were you?
I think I was 400. When I left, I believe there's close to 50,000 employees. So it was a great ride. Yeah. It was fun. It's kind of funny. The story is my father-in-law, when I took the job, it was a startup company. Who knew how successful it would be? Yeah. But my father-in-law called me up and told me I was doing the stupidest thing I could have ever done.
My dad did that.
Giving up a good job with Price Waterhouse to take a risk with this startup company. And it worked out, but I got to admit there were times that I was stressed out. And did I make the right decision? But it all worked out.
Yeah, great. Was being a grandfather something you were looking forward to having happen to you?
Yeah, it is, but it's something I don't really say out loud because, well, I'm careful who I say it out loud because I never want to put pressure on my kids. I always believe that was a decision.
Oh, I believe they're putting lots of pressure on my children.
I just didn't want them to feel like they had to have kids because I wanted them to. So
deep down,
Deep down, I was ready 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of later in life. I'm in my mid-60s, and usually people have grandkids, especially here in Utah, a lot sooner.
Exactly.
And but I'm grateful. But I'm glad my kids did it in their own choice and when they want to, and my other 4 boys, when they want to have kids. I'm there for them when they want to, but I will never thought of putting pressure. There's 2 things I would never pressure them on: getting married and who they married, and also on having kids.
Yeah. So go back in time 2 months. What thoughts and feelings went through you when you first laid eyes on Jack and Iris?
Iris was a little bit different. It was more emotional because she was in intensive care, so to speak. She was premature. She was below 5 pounds, and so she was just sitting there in the hospital, laying there. So we were worried about her. You see all the tubes and everything hooked up to her. Jack happened to be just a little bit above 5 pounds, so he was not ever put into the intensive care. And I remember the first time I held Jack, and I remember the feeling. My oldest son Ian was born, and they hand him to you and you hold him. All I could feel was weight. All I could feel was responsibility. All I could feel, my life has changed.
Yeah, not necessarily for the good, right?
No, and I didn't know how to do it, but I felt, this is it. I got to make sure I'm a good provider. I got to be a father. I got to be a role model. There's so much. And I felt the weight, and I was shocked because I was kind of expecting when I held Jack, I would feel the weight, and I didn't. What I felt was, this is going to be fun. It's a different role. The grandfather role is a different role. And I looked at it and said, you and I are going to be best friends. And that's how I looked at it. I didn't feel the weight. I'm sure my son and Alex, his wife, felt the weight or responsibility, but I just thought, this is going to be fun. So it was a whole different feeling than holding my kids.
That's really interesting. I just remember waiting for my oldest grandchild to be born, sitting down on the cold linoleum tile outside the delivery room, waiting to hear the cries. It's hard to even describe, and then to see them, it's just amazing. Now, we've talked about this, but did you ever know your grandfathers?
No. And to be honest with you, my one grandfather, my dad's father, I don't even think I've ever seen a picture of him.
Really?
Yeah. There's no... It's a unique situation, and a unique situation with his mom. And so, but I've never seen a picture. I've seen pictures of my mom's dad, and I don't even know what he looks like.
It's interesting that people live longer. The idea that it's almost a foregone conclusion, almost, that you're going to see your grandfather or know your grandfather at least for a while. And some people are lucky enough to know great grandparents at least for a while. But back then, life expectancy was short, and I share the same situation with you. I've never heard the voice of either of my grandfathers, and one suffered from the effects of alcoholism. The other one was just like, oh, I wish that I had known him. But I think that there's an expectation now that that you're going to know your grandparents, unless there's something, health intervention or something like that.
I mean, I'm going to know my grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
I plan to. They have no choice.
So what kind of plans have you formulated in your mind with regard to Jack and Iris?
Well, I look at life a little bit, and I look at different roles. You wear different hats. You wear your father, I'm a son, all the different roles I have. I'm a husband, I'm a professor, I had all different roles. I have friend roles, and I always look at different roles, and I think some are son, where I've got to be the presence. And that's, with your marriage, both you and your wife need to be the sons. Meaning in the sky sun. And when I'm a professor, I've got to be the son of the class, meaning the bright light that on the class. And, raising my kids and my relationship with the kids, I've got to be that big, powerful influence. But I look as a grandkid, looking at my grandkids, it's kind of nice. I get to be the moon. Meaning I don't have to be the one that's just sitting here teaching them and responsible for them. That's my son and his wife's Alex's job. Mine is to be up there every time, every day, the moon is there, be the support system. I get a little bit of a lesser role, but a critical role.
It's a fun role.
And I'm just keep on thinking I don't get a lot of chance in life. Do you get you get to be the support role, the moon role. I am looking so forward for the relationship with these kids. I got to say, it's tough because since they've been born, I've seen them twice. My wife's gone a few more times than I have to go and see them. But they changed so much. And since I've last seen them, I get to see them Tuesday. Last time I saw them, they were just really small. Again, they were born premature babies. Both were around 5 pounds. And last time I saw them, they were around 6 pounds. Now they're up to 9, 10 pounds. They're more active. And I miss that part. And that's the only part of being the moon is sometimes you just don't get the day-to-day that you hope for. And I get worried a little bit because they live in Seattle and we live in Park City, and trying to figure out how to manage that and still be a very big part of their lives. And I think it's doable. It's definitely doable.
Have you and Stace talked about that? About what plans you have to kind of, if not physically bring them closer, to stay in touch?
Well, I will give my daughter-in-law Alex a lot of credit. She every day sends us pictures.
Great.
And I think that's the great thing about cameras, phone cameras and so forth. It makes it so much easier than our generation. But, our goal is to try to go see him every month or every other month. We just feel we want to be a part of their lives. And they're fun to be around. My son and his wife are fun to be around. That's kind of what the plan is. Life happens. Will things change or how it works? But right now the plan is to be involved at least monthly or every other month, see him, but absolutely be involved in their lives on a daily basis.
You guys will knock it out of the park, I'm sure. And they're so cute now, but they'll get even cuter and cuter. Scott, we live in a really messed up world. Do you have any ideas about how you, as a grandpa, this is a tough question, you as a grandpa can maybe help provide peace and calm, to your grandkids?
I look in life, there's always disappointments, there's always hardship, there's always violence to deal with. And I guess I really hadn't thought of that as a grandfather role or how to deal with that. But I would say I'm hopefully that I'm the light in that they look at, or that I'm bringing positive energy in their lives. And also I want to make sure that if they get down or something, they feel like we can talk. It's kind of like the moon role I want to take, is that, I want to be up there. I want to be someone that they admire and want a relationship with. But I also want to make sure that I leave the door open for them. So if they ever have issues or anything they want to talk about, I'm there. And again, I worry about that as a challenge. I look at your kids versus our kids. They had a great grandfather in Lou. Lou was a great grandfather, but I look at the difference between your kids lived so close to him they could ride their bikes and go see him. We were more.
You were down in California,
and so we saw him 2 or 3 times a year, Christmas and that. And my kids had a great relationship with Lou, but they missed the informal relationship, the day-to-day living that you see. And that's one of the things I look at as a grandfather, that I'm now in the same situation Lou is. I think Lou did a great job managing it. I'm trying to figure out how can I be the grandfather I want to be and still have 1,000 miles of distance between us. And it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, but with technology and, the way things and transportation, and I think it's doable.
Yeah.
If anybody can do it, you and Stace can do it.
And
I'll let you in on a secret too. When I have my kids, sometimes we'll pose questions about what to do in business and what direction to go. Sometimes I'll punt, and guess who I punt to? I punt to you. I say, why don't you give Uncle Scott a call? And without fail, Scott, you have nailed it and given him great direction. And I think that you're uniquely qualified to do the same thing, but maybe even on a brighter, more illuminated way with your own flesh and blood. With Jack and with Iris, and hopefully there'll be others. But was there anything specifically that you were really looking forward to before you became a grandpa?
I like hands-on. So when you said, well, there's technology you can have with your kids, that doesn't excite me. Being able to see them and FaceTime. I like experience with people. I teach, and I will not teach online class because I want to be with the students. I want to see their facial expressions, how they react to things. Are they understanding?
Feel the energy.
I really need that, and I'm sure I'm going to need it from my grandkids. So, that's one of the challenges that I've got when I think of a grandparent. I think, boy, we're going to have summer camp in San Diego, or we're going to have summer camp in Park City, or we're going to be hands-on experience. Now, I hope my son and Alex say, yeah, well, you can have them for a week. Maybe by then, I know I was ready to give them for a month off, but I just look for that time to go and hang out with the kids, take them to the beach, take them in the mountains, just spend time with them. And that's how I look at it. I always look at it as hands-on experience and getting down on my knees and hanging out with the kids.
Yeah. I think you're going to be great. I think Alex and Ian will make wonderful parents.
They will.
Just treat them like $1,000,000, and you'll be the beneficiary of their good work.
And that's why I think I'll have so much fun, because Ian and Alex are, even now, I see such great parents they are. I think I just have to have the fun role.
Yeah.
I get to have the fun.
I mean, you're made for that role.
And that.
As you sit and kind of thinking forward, what do you wish for Jack and Iris?
I look at it and I hope it's the same thing I want for my kids. I just want them to be happy. And I want them to choose what they want to do to make them happy. And I just hope that they are happy and they have a good life and they have developed relationships with people, their families, their friends, their community, that develop and they're happy. When your kid gets married, the thing you want is to make sure that they're happy. And that's what I want for them, is for them to be happy. And whatever role I can take in that and whatever I can do to help guide them to make choices that may make them happy, or, just be the support and be there for them. I just want that I create positive energy in their life. That's when I look at life now, that's all I want to do is kind of what we were talking before. I'm tired of all the negative activity. I don't want to be part of it. I want to be the person that people want to gravitate to and be happy. We all like those people when we go to parties or whatever. As soon as you see them, you feel good about yourself.
You feel lifted.
You lifted. I'm not going to say I'm one of those people, but I strive to be one of those people. When people see me, they say, boy, he makes me feel good about myself. He just seems happy.
This is an admission, but I always wanted to have grandchildren that when they saw me, that they would light up like a Christmas tree. Maybe that's a little sappy, but that's what I wanted, is for them to go, oh, it's grandpa, and one of the reasons why we started the channel was we wanted to give all sorts of grandpas all sorts of leeway to tell all sorts of stories. And I don't know about you. Well, you're so new at this and you're practically perfect as a grandpa right now. But I know that I fall short, and I want to be better. And I have found that talking to our guests have given me lots and lots of ideas of how I can be better, and I want to be better. I just have lots of room to improve. I want to do that.
And we all do.
Yeah.
And we all do. And, and I think, the last thing you want to do, like you said, in your marriage or your kids' relationship or with your grandkids, I'm finding out, you don't want to fall short. And there will be times where you're going to be mad at yourself and kicking yourself. You didn't do this, or you didn't engage more. And what you've got to do is learn from it. Yeah, I kind of like what you said. You want to light up that they're excited to see you, excited to be with you.
Scattering like cockroaches in the door.
That's what I'm hoping for. I don't think I've looked forward to something as much as I have lately. This is such a new experience. It's so different that I'm excited for it. And I didn't realize how would that affect me. I didn't realize till I saw the kids how they affect me. To this point in my life, I've never been someone who likes to hold babies or be around. They're great, but I'm not. I know you love to hold.
I'm a little bit of a baby whisperer. Yeah.
But I was getting mad at Stacy the last day we were there in Seattle together with the twins. She held him the whole time. I didn't get to hold him the last day. And to be honest with you, I was a little upset.
Put your foot down.
And I didn't think that I would ever, but you look at life different. And I think I kind of missed this with my own kids because I was so concerned about the weight and responsibility that I couldn't get into the moment. And this one, I promised myself that I would absolutely be in the moment.
I think that's fantastic. So kind of maybe to wind up things, and this is kind of an unfair question, but and of course you can use vast number of experiences watching me in action. I'm just joking about being a grandpa, but what have you noticed with some grandpas as they interact with their grandkids that you say, you know what, I want to incorporate this into, how I work as a grandpa. Have you seen anything that's sort of, just said, I want to do that, or I want to stay completely away from that?
Be honest with you, I've never had a grandfather or an experience with a grandfather. So I didn't know what to expect to be a grandfather. I never really thought about it much until I saw and held Jack and then later on Iris when she was able to be held, it made me really look and watch and try to figure out. That's why I've been watching your podcast. That's why I've been trying to get ideas, because I learned when I got married that it's harder than I thought.
It's harder than it looks.
And it is hard. And I know being a father was harder than I thought. And even as they get older, it's still harder than I thought because you worry about the kids. And I never related to or looked at because I didn't have any and I didn't see a role. Now I feel like I want to be a sponge and try to get people's ideas and how they do it. And now for the first time, I'm watching you, Steve. I'm watching everyone to see how they are being a grandfather. And how you are a grandfather. Some things, it's your personality. It works for you. Some things won't work for me and vice versa. And it's not just what works for us. It may not work for the grandkid. You have teenage grandkids, so you've got to deal with it different. But I am watching now, Steve. And I'm watching, not to judge, I'm watching to learn.
I need to shape up.
No, you don't need to shape up. But to be honest with you, on the outskirts, I've been watching you. But now I'm really watching. And it's not to judge. It's just to learn. I've learned so much from you. And now I'm going to count on you to help me get through this.
We had one guest just a little while ago that talked about having a gramp camp. I thought that was kind of a fun, and it's like what you were saying about, doing something down in San Diego when the grandkids get a little bit older. I consider myself funny, but not fun. And Jean is probably the same way. I need to have children, and I do have children who are a lot of fun. We had a retreat, a family retreat to celebrate my birthday the end of June up in Ketchum, Idaho, in the Ketchum Sun Valley area. It was so much fun. It was a blast. It was really fun.
And see, and that's what I'm learning is the real key is making time and finding those times. We're kind of excited. We do a family vacation every other year. And this one's going to be different because we have 2 babies. It'll be a year old by the time we do the family vacation next summer. And it's changing things. We can't be as aggressive, so to say, whether we choose to go and but everyone is just so excited because they're so excited for this new adventure and this new relationships. And I agree, the best thing you can do, what I'm saying too, is make sure you spend time as a family. And I think that's the best thing you can do.
Well, I've got to tell you that one thing I'm really looking forward to is watching Scott interact. And I'll see this not this weekend, but the following weekend at the wedding you're going to hit it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, this is going to be a really great week. I'm so excited for it. First, Alec getting married. We love Sam. It's going to be fun to be there as a family, share it with the extended family, share it with friends. But it's also going to be the first time that anyone's seen the twins. None of my kids, none of the bros, as they refer to each other, have seen the twins. So putting these 2 great events together in 1 week is I've been on cloud nine. I'm a little stressed out because of all the honeydews I have to do to get there. But I can't wait for Saturday. They start coming in, and then Tuesday the twins come in, and just the family time.
Oh, that's going to be good.
So it will be fun.
Well, I'm so glad that Scott consented to come on his show. I had to pay a very
Boku
bucks to his agent to get him on. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
And that is it, the Grandpa Channel. I need a nap. Anyway, until we meet again, this is Rivers, this is Scott, and we bid you adieu. That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Leave a review, share it with a friend, or better yet, tell your favorite grandpa. We're on a mission to gather 1 million grandpas, storytellers, wisdom keepers, and lovable wild cards. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here.